Hey, this is Bobby. Welcome to my introduction to Lucid Chart. So, technical diagramming is something nice to have when you are starting as a technical writer or even fairly new to technical writing. Lucid Chart is a special product. It's found at lucidchart.com. And if you can imagine for a moment being in your first technical writing meeting at your first job, and around their table they're discussing a really important process they need to come up with, but they're not looking at you. So you slyly raise your hand and say, "Excuse me, but is there any chance at all that a technical process diagram would help here?" And boom, you'll impress them. So that's what Lucid Chart does, among many other things. Now, what we're looking at here is the default view when you log in, and after getting through a few marketing messages. The fascinating thing, the nice thing about Lucid Chart is that they have a free version, not really free, a free version where it's fully functional, but they break your volume. So you can only create X number of documents, I think it's 5 or 6, and X few hundred of objects. So, but it is fully functional. And if you're a student, you have a free license, which is pretty awesome. So you just need your university email. Something to think about if you're a student. So we're looking at the default view here, and we have the grids. And of course, if you like the dotted lines, you can go in here and change the grid to a dotted line if you want. But what I do right away is I show the rulers. Here we go. And this is the default US layout, 11 by 8.5, very typical. And if let's say you're in Germany, you're in Europe or somewhere else in the world, you can easily go to File and Page Settings and change this guy, right? You got A4 if that's your thing. Very easy to change. So we're looking at this layout. And what I do before I drag a shape or touch an arrow is I create my quadrants. And this is a basic principle of design when you're dealing with an empty page like this. So I'll click on the ruler here and drag the guide. So it's down on the horizontal or vertically, it's 8.5 inches. So I'm going to go 4.25, right? Approximately. And then half of 11 is 5.5. So I'll drag this line here, right? 5.5, 4.25, up. So what I can do, if this is too challenging, is zoom in. It's another essential function to getting these things right. Now look at that. Look at the show me the y-axis, and it's 4.25 exactly. So now you're saying to me, Bobby, this is kind of getting a little tight here, right? You're going to the 100th of an inch. When you're dealing with a complex diagram, a 100th of an inch might matter, let's say around the margins. So it does matter. And if you want to line everything up appropriately, it really does matter. So it's nice to get that right. So we got the rulers, we got the guides. Now you have 4 quadrants. You know where your center is, and you can navigate this space without too much trouble. And what I would do, if I were green and new to this, is play around with this. See if this is going to explode on me, or I can just have fun. See, it's not going to explode. There's not going to be any smoke coming out of your computer. You just drag these shapes around, and then you can play with the text in the middle, or drag an arrow and connect them. See how you can connect arrows to shapes, which is really cool. Notice how you can align shapes. Look at these dynamic guides. It's pretty awesome, right? I really suggest you go and play around. Even you could go build a house if you want to get shapes for that. Interior decoration of your house or whatever. Before you look at the templates, Because if you look at the templates, you're going to be like, oh my gosh, I can never do that. How can it might be a downer. I just think it's much easier to dive in and play around, get familiar with the interface and the objects, and take it from there. So this is my short introduction to Lucid Chart. I hope you like it. If you do, let me know, and I'll do another. Cool? Talk to you soon.